I wanted to spend some time talking about the power of intention. Uh, I myself am beginning to understand it, and of course, there's plenty that is said about it. But I thought that this would be the starting point of a series of thoughts that I felt important to share or to talk about, because I feel like this is the kind of uh, direction that I want to take whatever I'm doing with the whole video podcast thing towards exploration of these kind of ideas and uh, I guess unique ideas of thought that each person has because there's a concept, but each person ingests it differently. And I guess I'm talking about how I've ingested it and processed it in my head. I feel like the power of intention is fucking magical. There's no other way to put it. It feels magical. It feels like there's an external substance that's affecting you. Um, that's how much it reaches you. That's the extent to which it reaches you if done right. And I feel like there's only one way to do it right is honestly. Period. That's it. Honestly. You could go through all sorts of practices, you could have all sorts of affirmations and such, but at the end of the day, if you're not ready to intend, then how can you? To be able to say, I intend to do this with my life, one needs a certain claim over their life, a certain possessiveness, right? One needs to possess their life, have it under their control, or perceive it as under their control. If not have it under their control yet, that's a process. Um, I think I've been doing that every day. There's so many different things I come across, so many personal barriers that keep me from doing what I want to do. Even if it's get into the habit of reading, get into the habit of exploring new music, working out, doing different stuff. There's always barriers, right? And uh, there's something that comes to my mind that Joey Diaz, as I spoke about in the previous podcast, says. He says, if you've been doing this for a while, if you've been living for a while, then you know one thing: life is fucking problems, and it's all about getting past these problems and being happy as you do that. And I love that he said that because even though I may not have experienced as much as he has, but I feel like all of us, to our degree uh, and scale, have experienced this. So life is fucking problems, and to get past it is what it's all about, and keep living and make a good fucking life out of it. I feel like that's where the core concept of the power of intention comes from. To actually fucking intend it. It's as simple as that. Everything originates from us, everything originates from honesty. To be able to honestly claim, just as innocently as a child would, or as wisely as an old man would, to be able to claim an opinion or a thought process or a belief, and say that this is what I believe in. I feel like that is the basis for establishing the power of intention within yourself. For me, I personally, it varies day to day, but there is a common trend. And even if I do crash, even if I do have breakdowns where I'm not as productive, I'm not following my path, I still have lessons that come out of it. There's always lessons hiding behind these unpleasant experiences. The trick is to not lose yourself in the pain and emotion, but rather to search, to prospect for the lessons. And in the lessons that I have experienced, um, the common trend is that my intention wavers. And as a generation of, I believe, I'm not sure how to phrase it, but with a very dynamic culture, with a very dynamic value system, because of how modern things are apparently. Um, we don't have a source of truth. We don't have the simple life that maybe generations before us had, where they would um, say, "All right, this is the value system that I subscribe to, that my family before me has subscribed to, and my family after me will subscribe to." It's not as simple as that. Now we have the gift or the curse of free thought. And free thought is a fucking bitch if you don't know how to handle her. And I think that's what my life has been all about, mostly just being able to rein free thought in and to be able to ride that wave of creativity, spontaneity, expression, and to really get to these learnings. Anyway, with regards to intention, I feel like the first step is to recognize the need for intention within yourself. To be able to, regardless of your background, regardless of your cultural conditioning, to be able to think about the fact that I intend for this to happen in my life. I intend to do this. I intend to be this kind of person. I intend to change into this. I intend to grow. There's so many things one could intend for. You could be wishing for a change in your lifestyle. You want to be in a different place in life. The truth is, and this is the truth, because people will just tell you that this is the truth. It's just a hard pill to swallow. Life isn't going to come knocking at your doorstep and say, "All right, here you go. I am alleviating you of all of your pain and misery. Here you go." There's so many sayings around this as well back in history, which says, "God helps those that help themselves." I feel like this is also resonant, and I'm just spitballing here. I think that's really interesting, the fact that this is a saying, "God helps those that help themselves." I feel like this is in resonance with the idea of the power of intention. If one is to intend, one has decided that this is what they want, one has decided on their intentions, nothing gets in their way. And when nothing gets in your way, it's almost like God is fucking helping you, and that means something. And I feel like I'm getting closer to that idea in my own head, and it's really interesting because even when I face problems, the trend, and I'm sure you'd relate, the trend is often just get into your head when you're in those problems and to sort of cope in the ways that you do. Some would numb by going out and meeting other people. Some would numb by bad habits like alcoholism, which isn't good for your body. Some would numb by uh, doing what I do or I used to do, which would just be sleep excessively. I would literally escape into the dream world, which would still not be a pretty fucking place. So I'd be stuck in limbo between reality and what isn't. There's different ways to numb and escape from reality, but the hard truth of it is that it's important to catch the mind before it falls into these bad habits that we have almost practiced. Because everything in the human experience is a habit. Thought is habit, behavior is habit, the subconscious is habit too. So we almost regress into these habits that are detrimental to our well being, that are detrimental to our health. And it's really not good for the soul because the soul is almost taking a back seat. And that's what it feels like, right? I mean, think about your uh, what personally you do to numb and to get away from pain and to get away from an uncomfortable situation. Uh, it's hard on the soul, even if you do finish the process of numbing, even if you say, "All right, I'm done numbing," even if you binged fucking TV shows all day, and you get out of it, You feel like shit, you feel drained. And in the previous podcast, I did talk about life force energy and how, in certain ways, we unhealthily draw from the wrong sources of energy, which is maybe prana or chi, which is our life force energy, which is inside of us, which we do not need to draw from unless it is absolutely required for survival. It is something you add to improve or to heighten or to solidify your presence in this world, to solidify your vibration, you know. And we draw from this, and I feel like that's what happens when we numb. And this is speaking from personal experience. Oh, fuck me. If there is somebody that's an expert at numbing, fuck, I've got a cold. Sorry about that. It's me. I have gone through all kinds of numbing. You bring it up. I've gone through it. Um, and I've been aware of the different kinds of thoughts and the different kinds of emotions that you go through. And it's not pretty. The reason I dove deep into this is so that we really understand it. What we're doing when we're numbing is exiting from life. And this is a revelation I've had pretty recently, and it blew my fucking mind. When I had it, um, it was a really important moment for me because I realized that when we numb, we escape life. We exit the day. When we numb, time doesn't matter. It could it could be sunrise and then sunset, and you don't know how many of those would have happened. When we numb, we escape from the day. We don't commit to the day. We don't say that, all right, this is what I'm going to do. We don't own, there's no ownership there, there's no responsibility there anymore. And with good reason. I mean, I understand because, again, I've gone through it. The pain that a human being goes through, the pain that would take you to the place where you just check the fuck out from your day, needs to be something really relevant and big. It's not just on a whim, right? Because eventually it's not even good for your subconscious. So it's just something we do as a last resort, as an escape when everything's going down. But I feel like that is possibly the most important point in our day, which is essentially a series of choices if you look at it. That point is the most important choice that one makes before they fall into it. And I feel like the choice is not so big as, well, shit, do I watch movies or do I just work a little more? No, that's not the choice. Thankfully, that's not the fucking choice, because if it was, it would be inhumane. It would be like there's something wrong with us for feeling the way we do and for exiting from life as we do, that builds up so strongly within us. The choice rather lies in, do I talk to myself or do I not? Do I sense myself or do I not? It's as simple as that. And often we tend to block ourselves out when we're going through shit. Um, and believe it or not, that's the most harmful thing. That's the thing that does the most harm, because you're all you've got in this life, in this world. And if you're not your friend anymore, if you don't love yourself anymore, who's guiding the ship? Who's leading the ship? Who's driving the car? What the fuck? It's like we've just checked out. It's just that it's all gone, and you're just spiraling down the hill. And if you notice, sadly enough, that's the normal for a lot of people that we see in life today. They're just numb to authentic, true human experiences. We look around us, we see numbness. We see people just functioning on autopilot. It's 8 a.m., you gotta be there. It's 10 a.m., you gotta be there. There's meetings, there's fuck all. Go back home, you've got family. People aren't ready for family and they have families. We live in a very strange time, regardless of that, the fact that we are having this conversation right now, the fact that I'm talking to you right now about this means something, that we really value this human experience. We are aware of this as something that we are living in, you know. And in that, we have choices. And this brings me back to what I wanted to say about choices. The choice is simply to ask yourself, what do I need right now? What do I really fucking need right now? And I'm not talking about when I say talk to yourself, I'm not talking about, oh hi, how are you? None of that. I'm talking about a real fucking conversation, because you know yourself best. I don't know you as well as you know yourself. Nobody knows you as well as you know yourself. Your inner darkest secrets, people call them dark. I don't think there's anything such as dark or negative, but what I'm trying to talk about is the innermost secrets, the you know yourself with the deepest intimacy. You've shared so much with yourself. And when you talk to this person and you ask them, what do you need right now? I think that's really powerful. This all ties together with intention in the sense that when you have the intention to do good for yourself, or when you have set an intention for yourself, whatever that may be, when you ask yourself what you need right now or why you're feeling the way you are, it's possibly and pretty much probably because you're deviating from this intention that you have set for yourself, or this intention that you very deeply desire in your life. And this is a realization that I had when I was just writing or journaling or something, and I found out that it's all about committing to the day. And when you commit to the day, you commit to every day. And what is life? Every fucking day, right? So when you commit to life and when you commit to the day, you're essentially committing to your intentions because it's all consistent. If you truly do want something and you are aware about it and you set your intentions, again, whatever that may be, that is consistent with you committing to the day, because in the day, every action you do is either in the direction of your intentions or not. It's as simple as that. And now this may not mean that, okay, maybe if I intend to be, say I'm in college and I intend to be one of the best examples escape me. Excuse me for that. Say I'm doing anything and I intend to be the best at it, right? Say it's being the best research scientist in a field of whatever. It's not that everything in my day has to be aligned with it. It's not necessarily that. And a lot of people would argue this. A lot of people who talk about work ethic, a lot of people who talk about a lot of things. But when your intention is set, it doesn't necessarily mean everything you do in the day. You eat while reading literature, you sleep before reading about what you intend to do. um, that's a one-stop shop for burning yourself out. If you truly intend on something, if you truly want it, then reality must be accepted. And reality is that we are humans. We have human minds, and those human minds are limited. So when you embrace all of this, when you embrace the fact that human minds are limited, and you still embrace the fact that I don't give a fuck if my mind is limited. I don't give a fuck if I'm a human being. I want this. This is my intention, and I will get there. When you clarify this intention with yourself, nothing is going to stop you. God is going to be by your side, whatever God may be, or whoever God may be, and He's going to get you there. It's just the simple practice of setting intentions before you do something. When you spiral, you ask yourself, what's going wrong? For me, often when I spiral, it's because I have multiple things that are giving me anxiety or that are giving me stress that I'm not dealing with and that are almost pushed to the back of my mind before I realize that, Well, fuck, I'll be honest. I may feel like I'm just tired, or I may feel like I just need a break, but in reality, I'm going through a lot of shit. And when you admit that to yourself, when you admit the reason for whatever it is you're going through, there is such relief that you go through. The fact that you can be honest with yourself about something even potentially embarrassing that may be perceived as embarrassing to the outside world, it doesn't have to be embarrassing to you. It does not have to be embarrassing to you. The truth is, this human mind, the fact that we have the privacy of the mind, is one of the most beautiful things that is about the human experience. It's one of the most beautiful things about the human experience. The fact that you can think about absolutely anything and not be governed by the rules of society, by the rules of what one is supposed to think, what one is supposed to believe, they don't apply. And that's beautiful. And when you use this incredible tool to help yourself, imagine the heights, imagine how far you can reach. The reason why I even wanted to do this, the reason why I even wanted to start a series of podcasts or just to start sharing content is to put this energy out into the world, which has often been within me that I still struggle to tap into. The energy of us collectively getting better, and not just getting better at what we do and materialism and all of that. I'm talking about getting better at living. I think that is the essence of what we must do. That is our true calling, to get better at living and to enjoy it. Somebody very close to me, somebody very dear to me says, life is a party and you are the host. And I think there's so much power to it. Um, there's so many thoughts that I have to share, and I will subsequently, but I plan on not spending more than half an hour talking your ears off. And maybe, hopefully, you get something out of it and you take something away from it. Um, I personally, in summary, am really grateful for the power of intention and to be able to discover the power of truly wanting something honestly from the core of your heart. To be able to say, it's like I'm a child and I just want it. When you're sick, what do you what do you wish for? It's as simple as that. With how much passion do you wish for better health? When you're in love, with how much passion do you want, truly, just honestly want that person to love you back? I'm talking about that rawness in passion, just something that your soul craves. If you can try and phrase or bring awareness around your life to see what is lacking, what causes you sorrow, what you truly really want, regardless of the situation at hand. This is something I like to do to have clarity on what I want. If there's stuff you're struggling with, if there are constraints in your life, imagine all of them gone, all of your constraints gone. What would you do if there were no constraints? Where would you go? What would you work as? What would you study? What would you pursue? That leaves, that gives you that open ended space of endless possibilities. And this mind, as I described it, this beautiful thing between our ears, doesn't have constraints either. And that's where you can wander, that's where you can explore, that's where you can say, I want to be a sculptor, an astronaut, a deep sea diver, and I want to run a fucking ice cream stall. Who gives a fuck? To be able to admit these things to yourself, to be able to simply just dream in your head and to be honest with yourself, there is so much power in that. There is so much power in truly understanding what you may want. And it may not manifest clearly at first because, again, communication is something we often limit ourselves with. So maybe I may phrase And I gave you the example of somebody wanting to be a deep sea diver, somebody wanting to open an ice cream stall, somebody wanting to be an astronaut, this and that. But the underlying commonality between these wants, these dreams, is to be able to push the boundaries of what you believe you can do. That could be an example of what you derive after this exercise, but it's essential. It's so important to get aligned with yourself because people live their lives in spite towards others, towards the world, because they are not aligned with themselves. They are not honest with themselves about the reason they feel the way they feel. And that's why they give out so much negativity and so much hatred, and we are often the victims of it. But then again, there's ways to handle that. Maybe I cover that another time. But the point is, it's so essential to be in touch with yourself. And when you're in touch with yourself, you can set your intentions perfectly. And when you fucking set your intentions, there's nothing stopping you. Trust me, there's nothing stopping you. Often, oh fuck me, I'm a little tired from doing all that talking. But often when I just listen to or think about a concept that is really powerful and that I resonate with, that's all I need in order to sort of start this flow of thought. And that's what I used to do with writing. And I had a blog for years, and I would write my thoughts out there. But that changed because of events in my life, and maybe I want to get back in touch with that again because I don't let those events limit me anymore. And I do write sometimes, but I feel like this is something I've really wanted to do, something that would make it a more personal experience for me to talk to you through this medium. Because in the conversations that we have in everyday life, think about it, the conversations we have, wouldn't we just wish that some of them were recorded? And hopefully in the future, in subsequent podcasts, I have some friends over, some people that I really, really cherish and love in my life, and we can have a conversation about things. Right now, this is just me sort of setting the context of setting the vibe of what I want this to be about, which is why I'm not really worried about much. I've got this as a high quality microphone. I've got this as a high quality video camera. I'm all dressed up and fucking, you see that? It doesn't matter to me. I don't care if I don't look good. I don't care if it's not up to the standard of those people that would judge. It doesn't matter to me because my intention, and this is important, this is relevant to the past half an hour, my intention here is to share, is to share love, is to share ideas, is to learn from all of you, is to just grow together. And that's what I think our collective intention should be, to grow as a race, to grow as people, to grow as souls, and to help each other in this growth. That is so important. So when you get practiced in the art of setting intention, again, I call it an art because it is an art, and I am nowhere coherent and fluent in this art, but I'm getting there. um, when you do get when you do get enough practice in it, when you do get coherent in the art of setting intention, look outside of yourself and begin to set intentions with the world. And you'll be surprised with the things you can change, even without doing a single thing to change them. I know people that have had such experiences. I know people that are so powerful. I'm sure you know them too. With just the the intent, the pure intent of positivity and positive energy, and almost a meditative presence. And people have been able to make such big changes in this life. And if you can do it and I can do it, I feel like we're no different from the rest of the world in potential. And someday, if we can get the world to do this, wouldn't that be the start of something big? Wouldn't that be the start of solidarity, of love, of affection, of no hatred, of no misunderstanding, of no racism? Fucking John Lennon's Imagine comes to mind. I do not want to sing the lyrics, but place lyrics here. Interestingly enough, that was one of the first songs I learned on the guitar because I just loved it so much. I resonated with it so much. Anyway, this is the 30-minute mark. I have hit it, and I once again thank you for your time. I thank you for your attention. If you did make it this far, I hope you got something good out of this. I hope you have things to take away from it. And I'd love to have a conversation about any of the things that I discussed because, again, I'm learning too. So I'm open to it. And I thank you for your time.